Hello everybody. Today we're going to be comparing two hammocks, the Dutchware Banyan and the Dutchware Chameleon. The Dutchware Chameleon is a gathered end style hammock, while the Dutchware Banyan is a bridge style hammock. We're going to be looking at the pros and cons of each. One of the most important aspects of a hammock is its lounging capability. Now with this Banyan and other bridge style hammocks, you might find you have the wires right at your eye level, because it doesn't sink down enough to get this out of the way. Other people find that this edge can be quite uncomfortable because of the zipper, but I haven't found that to be a problem for me. The main thing is this wire that just hits my head constantly, and you don't get much of a back surface when you're lounging because the bridge hammocks can be so flat. You don't get that like curved seat position when you're lounging. Lounging in the gathered hammock is much more comfortable. I have a lot more space, it's a lot easier to get in and out, and I don't have this ridge line hitting my head. I can lean back, have a little backrest, can swing without falling out. Lounging in the bridge hammock is not as comfortable as lounging in the gathered end hammock. Now on to how it sleeps. Sleeping on your back is quite excellent. It's very flat, extremely flat. There is not a lot of room on the sides though, so it can be kind of constricting. I imagine for someone larger than me, it would be very constricting. Sleeping on your side is quite doable. Where it really shines is sleeping on your stomach. It's extremely comfortable sleeping on your stomach. This is not a feature you get in gathered end hammocks. However, when you are sleeping on your side, unless you are in the exact center line of the hammock, it will tip a little bit. And depending how it tips, I've had this happen to me often, you'll end up noticing that you're on the bug net. So if you do plan to side sleep, be aware that unless you're in the exact center line, it will tip to one side and you will find yourself with your face on the bug net. That gets me to my next point, tippiness. Bridge hammocks are known to be a little more tippy than usual. Let's see how tippy this is. Whoa. So unless my weight is in the exact center, it will tip. You might not fall out, but it will tip. Okay, for a stability test to see how tippy it is, I feel like this isn't tippy at all. This is so much more stable than the bridge hammock. Put a little pot right here and cook while you're in the hammock without falling out. I can move around during my sleep and not fall out. This is quite stable, partly because it's so much lower than the connection points. While in the bridge hammock, the connection points are more on the same plane as where you lay. Very stable. As for sleeping, unlike the bridge hammock, which is flat, in the gathered end hammock you have to sleep at a diagonal in order to get that flat lay. However, when I am sleeping at a diagonal, depending on the diagonal you get, I can get an extremely flat lay at a diagonal. However, this flat lay is really only good for your back. Going to my side, it's not as comfortable being on my side as in the bridge hammock. However, it is a whole lot more stable and not tippy while on my side, which I guess can equate to more comfort because you're not worried about tipping and falling out and trying to adjust your balance. Stomach sleeping. I would say this is a no-go. Even at a diagonal, stomach sleeping is not comfortable in the gathered end. The best sleeping position in the gathered end is on your back. At a diagonal, it can be extremely comfortable this way. Normally, I'm not one who sleeps on my back, but in a hammock like this, I actually can sleep quite comfortably on my back. Sitting up, my head does not touch the ridgeline, and if I had this bug net deployed, it would not touch the bug net. I feel like I have so much more space in this. It is so much more spacious than in the bridge hammock. As for the next point, it is quite spacious inside. However, that is when you are laying down. If you do want to sit up, you can't really do that without the bug net hitting the top of your head. Now I'm a short guy, so anyone taller than me is definitely going to have problems sitting up in the Banyan. These two cables do have the benefit to where you can have this slide over your head. And you can put your phone or tablet up here and watch a film while you're going to sleep. I think that's the best thing about these two cables. But the Banyan, there is not a lot of space when you're sitting up. That is one of the major disadvantages. Also, when you are sitting up, you have to be very mindful of your center of gravity, or you will tip. And especially when you're sleeping on your side. It's very easy to have that bug net get in your face. In a gathered hammock, because the zippers are straight and not rounded and they connect at the ends, it's so much easier to zip it up. I do have a ton of space inside. I can get a little ridge organizer up here. Spread out my feet if I want. Here I'm laying at the diagonal. I'm quite flat. It's quite comfortable on my back. However, laying on my side, not as comfortable. You do get adequate space in the Banyan. However, you can see it does feel kind of narrow. Bug net here, bug net here. Another thing to note is that these zippers have rounded corners, so it can be quite difficult to get these zippers to go around the corner. Another benefit to a gathered in hammock is how quickly you can remove this bug net. Well, maybe not remove it, but get it out of the way. With the Banyan, removing the bug net is a lot more complicated because you have the zipper connection right in the middle here. So you can't easily get it out of the way if you just want to lounge. Plus it goes through these wires right here. So it's not really easy to get off. The Banyan hammock, like most bridge hammocks, is directional. Here we have a red tag, red for head, meaning your head must be on this side and your feet must be on that side. Another thing to note is that the connection cables are quite long, much longer than you would have on a bridge hammock, meaning your trees have to be much farther spaced apart. Also, after these go into your stuff sack, I find that it's very common for these cables to get all tangled up and you have to untangle it when you get it out of the stuff sack. And unlike on a bridge hammock, the connection points and a gathered end hammock are a lot shorter, meaning your trees can be a lot closer together than on a bridge hammock. And also, these are impossible to get tangled up while in the stuff sack, unlike in the bridge hammock. As far as materials, on the Dutchware Chameleon, I have the Hexon 2.0 fabric, which is quite durable, quite bomb-proof, but unfortunately it is discontinued from Dutchware. While on the Banyan, I have the Hexon 1.6. It's a little lighter than the Hexon 2.0, but it still does quite a good job. Thanks for watching, everybody. My preference personally is the gathered end hammock from Dutchware versus a bridge hammock. It was a good experiment for me, but I think I'll be selling this and keeping my gathered end hammock. You make your own choices. This is excellent for stomach sleeping and also side sleeping, while this I think is just an overall better style. But you guys choose yourself.